Tonight, the future of Port Augusta's MP electorate office up in the air, and a new report predicts a jobs boom for Broken Hill.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. Our newly elected MPs are settling into their electorates, but some now have more area to cover than ever before. Port Augusta's MPs currently don't have offices in the city, but the area's new politicians are hoping to change this.
Will Port Augusta be given the cold shoulder? Boundary changes have impacted the way the city is represented after Saturday's state election. Both Jeff Brock and Eddie Hughes confirming they will ask for a Port Augusta base once the results have been declared.
I've already indicated to the new Treasurer and to the Premier I am looking for 2 offices, one in Port Pirie and one in Port Augusta.
See if I can get some funding to have a presence in Port Augusta. But irrespective, even if the Treasury knocks it back, I will be a very regular visitor to Port Augusta.
Mr. Brock says he expects to move into the Young Street office in the CBD. However, he's once again criticised the decision to split Port Augusta in 2.
All due respects to them being cut in half, which is an insult to the community here. However, the Electoral Boundaries Commission have done that. We've got to live with it. But you've got now you've got 2 local members here.
They say the footholds will ease the travel burden on residents.
You've got people north of Port Augusta coming in. They shouldn't have to come into Port Pirie. They're coming into Port Augusta at the moment.
The changes will also affect Mr. Brock's former seat of Frome. He expects Penny Pratt to set up in Clare while he retains his Port Pirie base.
People at Port Augusta will probably get sick and tired of seeing me up here.
Even though I just represent the western part of Port Augusta, most of the issues cover the whole of Port Augusta. So I intend to have very regular meetings.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The RAA is calling on the federal and state governments to invest $7.6 billion into South Australia's road network. The call comes as the insurer unveiled its priorities ahead of this year's federal election. They are seeking a 25-year government commitment to duplicate the Augusta, Sturt and Dukes highways. The RAA says the upgrades will improve safety while creating more than 38,000 new jobs in the process. The incoming member for Sturt has outlined his plans to tackle the number of issues at the Port Pirie Hospital. Jeff Brock is looking to meet with the new Health Minister to address the upgrades. Reporter Christian Komenos has more.
The new state government promised Port Pirie a better hospital, and Jeff Brock is making sure it will be delivered soon.
Both sides committed money for the upgrading of the hospital behind us. This has always been on my agenda here for the last 2 or 3 years we need to do something with this hospital here.
The first step of the plan is to meet with the new health minister to release the structural reports on the hospital, something the previous government refused to do. Jeff is concerned the reports could indicate more than $12 million will be needed to fix the building.
It's not only the A&E here, it's only the hospital itself, but the old Allied Health building along on the other side, other road, that, on my information, is about 80% of that is not being utilised because of OH&S issues.
The second step will be discussing the ongoing bullying claims between senior staff members that have plagued the hospital for the past 2 years.
Complaints coming into me from the general public themselves. I've had complaints from the general staff here. I've had complaints from doctors. I've had complaints from visiting specialists that were here but that appear to not be coming back to this hospital here.
The local health board reportedly claimed there was no issues of bullying, but Mr. Brock will be pushing for an independent review.
And we need to get that cleared up. Whether it's true or not, of what, we've got to get it cleared up because there's a lot of innuendo in the community out there.
However, it could take weeks until Jeff Brock meets with the new health minister, who is being sworn in this week.
Broken Hill City Council says it is preparing for a jobs boom after a new report outlined the region's future prospects. An economic assessment has projected that there will be thousands of new jobs in the city by 2025.
Exciting times ahead for the Silver City. The council commissioning its own report into future jobs growth after relying on data from the Bureau of Statistics in the past.
We've consistently been given a decline in population for a number of years now that Broken Hill is actually in decline, and we've looked at that obviously with the new mining prospects that are coming into fruition over the next few years.
Cobalt Blues mining project and the Horses Iron project set to boost employment numbers. The findings predicting 3,000 new jobs will be created within 3 years, giving council limited time to get prepared.
We need to make sure that we're actually well prepared ourselves, and what we need to do to put in place for an increase in housing, and also what we can do to advocate to state and federal government around improving the livability of the city.
Business Far West among those excited about the growth of the city.
I think it's very exciting to see what can happen in Broken Hill over the next few years, and to be a part of the business community during that is amazing.
She believes the extra jobs will benefit the region.
So I think if we have a population growth, that gives more of an opportunity for new people to come in with different skills. So, look, I don't think it can be a negative.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Port Lincoln's MFS station on the hunt for new recruits, and Broken Hill's flood victims facing an insurance backlog. Welcome back. The MFS is on the search for more regional part-time firefighters to assist in its country townships. A lack of trained personnel is putting a strain on operations, with the group calling for more recruits to join the team.
An opportunity for recruits to climb to new heights. MFS stations across regional South Australia are looking for team-minded people to join their ranks.
Successful recruits will be trained to respond to a range of emergency incidents, including structural and bush firefighting, road crash and technical rescue.
We don't have full-timers, so it is important that we get people through the station quite regularly. We're down on numbers at the moment, so get a few more recruits will be fantastic.
One Port Lincoln recruit already picking up the hose.
Firefighting's always been a pretty keen interest of mine ever since I was young. I actually transferred my application from the Port Pirie station, moved here last May. It's been quite a swift transition. All the boys at the station here have been quite helpful in getting me through the process.
Senior firefighters dedicating their time to develop trainees.
Generally, a recruit comes into the system, they get put with a senior firefighter, and then we look after them right through their process till they can ride on a truck.
Those who join are expected to train for 3 hours a week and will be paid for their services. The Port Lincoln station attends approximately 20 calls per month, but says it needs new faces to make sure they get out the door.
We're looking for community-minded people who are interested in challenging themselves and learning new skills. Ideally, they'll be team-focused.
To apply, head to the MFS website. Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
There has been an influx of insurance claims from the storms that have wreaked havoc on Broken Hill in the last month. Local residents are urged to be patient due to a backlog caused by other weather events on the East Coast.
The last month has not been kind to Broken Hill's home and business owners. Recent storms battering local properties, with the impact expected to create a hefty bill.
Businesses, especially in Argent Street and Oxide Street, have really been affected every storm that we get, which is really unfortunate just because of the drainage system here in Broken Hill.
With builders finding it hard to get staff, resources being stretched thin. Local insurers say residents are being forced to wait for repairs, creating a backlog of claims.
So we're struggling to get quotes to complete the jobs, which is really unfortunate for the people, especially with the people with lots of mould damage and immediate issues.
It is estimated more than 69,000 claims have been lodged in New South Wales, with damage estimated at around $1 billion. If your home or business has been impacted by flooding or storms, here are some things that you can do.
Every claim's different, so we need to make sure that they're getting the right advice from us. But yeah, definitely we need a quote, photos.
Insurers also say damaged or destroyed items should be stored somewhere safe where they don't pose a health risk. Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Meanwhile, the Eyre Peninsula Landscape Board is accepting applications for its latest round of grants. $150,000 will be rewarded to landowners for landscape and storm recovery projects.
This year's grassroots grant program looking to assist landowners with new projects. The Peninsula Landscape Board offering up over $100,000 in funding.
There are basically three categories. There's small community grants up to $5,000 to look at environment protection and restoration works, larger community grants up to $15,000, and farm recovery grants for up to $5,000.
The Port Lincoln's Riding for Disabled Association, a recent beneficiary, receiving $10,000 for creating new vegetation last year. The improvements made to its paddocks already making a difference.
What it's done for us is, we've been able to remove Aleppo pines, box thorns, take out a few noxious weeds and stuff like that, and just develop the site, clean it up a lot. There's still a lot to go.
This year's funding getting a boost with extra grant money going to those affected by January storms.
This year we're putting an extra $50,000 in for farm recovery grants after the weather and flooding events of January.
The RDA saying that the funding has put them 3 years ahead with work still ongoing.
Currently you can see there's a bit of kikuyu around, and kikuyu was growing here naturally when we first really started working on the site, but we want to get some native grasses going, so there's stuff like wallaby grass that we want to get going. Without the funding we probably wouldn't be able to get the wallaby grass.
Applications for this year's grants will remain open until April 22nd. Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us while a resident shouted free tickets to the Unearthed Festival, and Port Pirie preparing to rock on as live music returns to the city. A federal parliament inquiry into regional and rural Australia's newspaper services has handed down its report today. The committee has made 12 recommendations to address issues that would strengthen the longevity and viability of newspapers in areas like the Spencer Gulf. Committee Chair Dr. Anne Webster says regional newspapers play an important role in maintaining an interconnected community. An Eyre Peninsula District Council is calling on the federal government to target the settlement of any Ukrainian refugees to their community. The District Council of Cleve hopes to work with the Department of Home Affairs and the Ukrainian Australian community.
This is a good plus. One is a humanitarian effort, and two is a good effort to get some great labour skills.
Since last month, the federal government has granted close to 4,500 visas to people fleeing the conflict. With Wyler's Unearthed Festival underway, patrons are now eligible for free tickets to see the 64 in concert on Saturday. GFG Alliance is backing the purchase to help encourage people to see high-quality acts in the city.
Inspiring residents in the Upper Spencer Gulf to see what the Unearthed Festival is all about. GFG Alliance and the Adelaide Fringe combining to make tickets for this Saturday's performance by the 64 free for everyone.
It is a ticketed event, so they were selling tickets, but GFG and Adelaide Fringe have put some money behind it to offer a bunch of free tickets to the Wyler community.
The quartet, fresh off their performances at this year's Adelaide Fringe Festival, are visiting regional cities across South Australia. Giving an old-school 60s flashback with tight harmonies and slick moves, it's an opportunity for residents to see a Fringe show at no cost.
It's really great to be able to offer some free tickets to people who maybe have overcommitted themselves during the Fringe season and seen a bunch of things already and don't want to spend too much more money.
In a statement, a spokesperson for GFG Alliance says they are a proud supporter of improving access to the arts in regional SA. Tickets are also selling out for the festival's other events, including popular drag cabaret act Leather Lungs.
Last year, Leather Lungs' show sold out completely. We had people scrambling to try and find tickets, and we're looking like we're going to fill up this year as well. Not many tickets left for that one.
Attendees can book on the Middleback Arts Theatre's website. Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Metal fans will be getting back into the mosh pit next month as Metal United Down Under returns to Port Pirie. The event organisers are hoping for a big turnout as Pirie's nightlife comes back from the dead.
Live music is back and heads will be banging. The Black Pig Bar and Grill is excited to have patrons back in the pub, standing up with a beer and listening to guitar riffs. This year's festival will be bigger and better, with a lineup stacked with Aussie bands.
It's the 6th Medal United Down Under that we've had in Port Pirie, and like I said, we've got 4 interstate bands and we've got 7 South Australian bands.
It's not just all headbanging and screaming, with a different range of genres on show to cater for the wider scene.
Everything from punk rock to thrash metal to heavy metal to deathcore to grindcore to black metal. It's basically all guitar-driven music. That'd be the best way to put it.
The event is long overdue after COVID restrictions crippled the live music and hospitality industry, and the organisers are keen to get back in the pits.
I'm as a really huge music lover, and I love to go in small venues wherever I am to check out new bands and see the talent. It's like, plus I enjoy my beer as well, so yeah, this is amazing.
We're hoping the beer garden will be packed, and I think it's a great thing for the community. I think it's really important for people to get out and talk to each other.
Christian Komenos, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We check what you can expect to pay at the petrol pump. And Alex Sykes will have the latest weather forecast. Hello again. High fuel prices are continuing to cause pain for motorists right across the Spencer Gulf, with fuel still well above $2 a litre. Here's Mark Zeta with this week's Fuel Watch.
Some centres have seen a slight decrease in the average price of unleaded. However, it's not enough to ease the pressure on the budgets of many families across our viewing region. Despite the green arrows on your screen, unleaded fuel in the Spencer Gulf is still above $2 a litre, with only a few cents difference to prices from last week. Port Pirie selling the cheapest unleaded at close to $2.06 a litre. Port Lincoln edging out Kadina for the second cheapest in our region. Broken Hill is the only city that saw an increase in the average price of unleaded. Fuel selling for close to $2.13. There's no relief at the moment for those driving down to Adelaide this weekend. However, prices there are expected to fall as they enter the low phase of the metropolitan price cycle. Meanwhile, it's the same story for the average price of diesel across the Spencer Gulf. Whyalla and Port Lincoln both holding the unenviable title of selling the most expensive diesel at just over $2.25. Kadina with the cheapest at just under $2.10. Port Pirie sitting in the middle of the range with diesel there selling at $2.16. While in Broken Hill, diesel prices have seen a big fall from last week down to $2.18. Prices also falling in Adelaide by 4 cents a litre. Turning to autogas now, and average prices have remained the same in most areas. Port Lincoln and Port Pirie both seeing price increases by a few cents a litre. Kadina, the only centre which saw a fall in the average fuel price by 0.6 cents. While if you're heading to Adelaide, they're selling the cheapest LPG at just under $1.10 per litre. Remember, these prices are the regional average and do not reflect one particular outlet. If you see fuel for cheaper, let us know through our Facebook page.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather across the Spencer Gulf and Broken Hill. With all the details, it's good evening this Wednesday evening to Alex Sykes.
Thanks, John, and good evening to you and our viewers. Mainly fine conditions across the region today. From 3 p.m, Port Lincoln was cloudy and 21, Woodner was cloudy and reached 24, and Cooper Pedy was partly cloudy and 30 degrees. Looking further out across the region today, Port Augusta and Port Pirie were both 26, Adelaide was 21, Kadina and Cleve both reached 18 degrees, Clare was 20. Taking a look at the satellite image now, bright looking clouds streaming across South Australia's south inner trough is bringing showers and storms. There is low cloud behind this which has a cold front and is bringing patchy showers across the coast. Building clouds towards the interior is not rain bearing due to a drier air mass. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. South to southeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots, seas 1 to 1.5 metres, and south to southwesterly swells around 1 metre. Port Lincoln and Cleve partly cloudy, both to reach 21 tomorrow. Woodner will be mostly sunny and 26 degrees. While it's sunny and 23, Port Augusta will reach 26, Kadina mostly sunny and set to reach a high of 25 degrees there. Sunny in Port Pirie, where it'll get to 27, Clare 23, and Broken Hill will reach a max of 26 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, Port Augusta and Woodner both to reach 27, sunny in Port Pirie with 28 degrees, partly cloudy in Port Lincoln with a high of 21, sunny and 24 in Whyalla. Let's take a look at that all-important weekend weather now. It'll be sunny across the region on Saturday, 31 degrees in Port Augusta, Woodner and Cooper Pedy, Kadina and Adelaide both 28, mostly sunny in Port Lincoln with 24, Port Pirie will get to a max of 30 degrees. Warming up a little on Sunday with those sunny conditions continuing. Port Augusta, Woodner and Cooper Pedy all set to reach 34. Port Lincoln will be mostly sunny with a max of 28. Kadina, Adelaide and Broken Hill will get to 30 degrees and Port Pirie will be 33. So not a bad forecast for the weekend there at all, John, and that's all the weather from me for tonight. I'll see you a little later this evening with an update. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we will return tomorrow night at the earlier time of 6:30 p.m. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.